Hello, how are you? Okay, so my name's Ben, and if you've seen my channel before, thanks for coming back. If you haven't seen my channel before, thanks for being here. So, I'm gonna talk about some common questions about twin flames. These are questions that I get when I do readings or just in general, but also just very common questions that happen a lot in the twin flame journey, and obviously I myself have asked them time and time again, especially when I was first starting on the journey. So, alright, so we are going to talk. Now I have 20 questions written down here. We'll see how many we actually get through. The first one, what is a twin flame? So a twin flame is your mirror, to put it simply. So it's the person that shows you everything great about you and everything not great about you at that time, right? Because it's always a never-ending journey of how you can improve, how you can be the best version of yourself, right? So the purpose of a twin flame and what a twin flame is to show you your true raw self, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? All of it incorporated, all in one reflection that is this other person. So in the beginning, when you guys are connecting with each other, you're going to see these amazing qualities in each other because you're both incredible people. But the more you get to know each other, the more you're looking in that reflection, you're like, oh, wow, okay, I didn't see that before, but I see that. All right, I'm just going to, kind of just ignore that for now, and you kind of put things under the rug, right? But you can't do that. With a twin flame connection, you can't shove things under the rug. It's going to get brought up. Even if you don't intentionally mean to, you're going to trigger your twin flame, because that's the whole point. Because when you trigger somebody, you're forcing them to see a wound that they have, or a toxic pattern that they have, or something in their life that is not good for them, that you can see, but they can't see in that moment. So it's going to trigger that other person. That's a good thing, because then it pushes that person into healing. It broadens their perspective. It opens their eyes. It shows them like, hey, this isn't good for you. You really shouldn't either be doing this. You shouldn't think like that. You shouldn't be around these people. They don't actually care for you, The brutal honesty that comes in a twin flame connection is the most important part, because without that mirror, without that other person showing you all the things that that you have to work on in yourself, but also the beautiful qualities about yourself. Without that, how would you ever grow as a person? That's the whole point of, in this matrix simulation that is called life, right? The whole reason for us being here is for the evolution and the learning. It's for the evolution, the learning, and the growth of the soul. So that's the whole point. That's why there's other people in this matrix, right? Because you're the main character in your world. But then there's all these other people that exist, right? They're actually just projections of your subconscious, but that's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, the point I'm getting at is the whole point of having a mirror in other people, especially the ultimate mirror, which would be a twin flame, is so you can become the highest version of yourself. Now that's great, right? It is not easy at all. That's why not everyone is a twin flame. Not everyone has a twin flame. That's just fact, right? There are lifetimes where you have had a twin flame, or you're going to have a twin flame if you don't have one. It doesn't mean it's this lifetime. But for those of us that it is this lifetime, there's no denying it. You can't run from it. It's blatantly in your face. Whether you want to be on this journey or not, you're in it. So that's what a twin flame is. Second, how do I know if someone is my twin flame? You will never outlive this question, okay? For the rest of your life, you're gonna have that thought in your mind of, okay, obviously this feels like this is my twin flame, but is it my twin flame? And that may sound like a bad thing to always be questioning it, but it's not. Because every time you question it, every time you're wondering, like, is this person really like my counterpart? Are they actually my twin flame? I don't know. Like, I feel like it is, but then, 90% of the time, I'm Gucci, but 10% of the time, I'm like, are you? We're very different. Like, I don't know about that. But every time you are in that energy, you're learning, you're growing, you're reaffirming your connection to that person. Even though it sounds like you may be doubting it, doubt isn't a bad thing. Doubt puts things in perspective. So if you're doubting your journey and you're like, yeah, I don't know about this. Look at what's making you feel that way. Like maybe you noticed something in your twin flame that you hadn't seen prior, and it kind of like, it gave you the ick a little bit. That's not a bad thing. It's just showing you like, ooh, why did that bother me so much? Why did that trigger me so much? Like, I love this person. This person's amazing. Why did that just like weird me out a little bit, or like freak me out a little bit? I don't know about that. That's something you need to look at within yourself. So how to know if someone is your twin flame? They are your ultimate reflection. Only a twin flame will know for sure if somebody else is their twin flame. A reader can't tell you. Your parents can't tell you. Your friends can't tell you. Not a single entity in existence can tell you who your twin flame is. It's something that you know internally. You feel it. You know it. It's in your soul. It's literally you reflected in another person. You exactly. Your blueprint, right? That blueprint may have gone through separate experiences in life than you, or they may have had a different upbringing, right? But fundamentally, you are the exact same blueprint as this person. So you're going to be fundamentally the same. Even if externally, things are very different. Your upbringings were different. Your life is different. Your hobbies are different. Your interests are different. That stuff is surface level. It doesn't really matter. It technically doesn't even exist. Okay? So what truly matters is you connect to this person on a level that nobody else can understand, number one. Number two, can tell you what it is. Number three, can tell you how to feel about it. Number four, can tell you what to do about it or what you shouldn't do about it. And number five, they will never understand it. Only you and that person, your counterpart, will understand the connection you have with each other. Other people are going to call it crazy. They're going to say, it doesn't exist, like that's stupid. Doesn't matter what other people say. Doesn't matter what they think. Only you know if someone is your twin flame. That's it. That's how you know. You just know. If you're a twin flame, you know it. Even if you don't know the terminology right away, you don't know that the phrase twin flame exists, all you know is you and this person have a connection unlike anybody else you've ever met in your entire life. And no matter what you do, you cannot escape this person. You cannot escape the thoughts of them. You cannot escape the energy of them. They trigger you more than anybody else. Anybody else in existence, this person triggers you. But they also... you feel the most incredible and amazing around them at the same time. It's the extreme highs and the extreme lows. Now that is not an excuse for abuse. Your twin flame will never abuse you. Okay? We may get wounded and trigger each other and act out of our triggers, but we'll never abuse each other, because twin flames don't abuse each other. They would never do that to each other. So if you're thinking, is this person my twin flame, but they beat you or they continuously legitimately abuse you, that's not your twin flame. Your twin flame, we may be mad at each other and yell at each other like, what the fuck, like that just triggered the shit out of me. How could you say that to me? Like, how could you think that about my life? Things like that are normal. Normal in a twin flame connection, right? You scream match, one of you storms off, and then you come back 5 hours later and go, okay, may have overreacted a little bit. I see your point. You still pissed me off. I see your point, but I think I'm ready to talk a little bit now. But there also comes a point where your triggers. Yeah, when your triggers are so intense that you cannot come back together for a certain amount of time, and that's when you go into periods of separation, right? That's when the major healing happens. So that's how you know if someone is your twin flame or not. So now we're going to go to number 3. Okay, so number 3, we have, is the twin flame journey always smooth sailing? I love you, but that is the most bullshit anyone's ever going to tell you, okay? The twin flame journey, it's beautiful. It's amazing. It's magnetic. It's magnificent, right? It is also hell most of the time until you guys clear out a lot of your wounds, right? So in the beginning, it's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. You guys are going to connect with each other more than anyone else you've ever met in your entire life. Going to be incredible. This person is going to understand you at a level that you always hoped that somebody would, but never believed that someone would. That someone would be able to understand you fundamentally at the core. You know, not just someone being like, oh yeah, I kind of relate to that, I guess. No, this person, it's literally like they are inside your soul, inside your experience. Like they just get you. They get your existence. They get you more than anyone else ever has and ever will. So that's great, right? That's the beginning of connecting with your twin flame when you first meet them, your initial contact, basically. Your initial contact with your twin flame, and then the first technical stage of twin flame connection, which is the bonding, the getting to know each other, the introduction to the connection, right? It's incredible. It's amazing. But, like we talked about, as soon as that reflection starts to show you, like you start noticing more things in that reflection that they trigger you or they upset you, or you're like, okay, I don't know. Because in that first stage, right, you kind of idolize the other person. You kind of put them on a pedestal. You both do it. Both counterparts do it. You put the other person on a pedestal and you're like, wow, this is amazing. Like, I can't believe I've met this person. I'm so blessed. I'm so lucky. You know, those are great things to feel. But then the other part creeps in, right? The real work and the real purpose of the twin flame journey. So, I mean, we're going to touch that in question 4. But so for number 3, to finish this up, no, the journey is not smooth by any means. Not in the beginning and not during the healing. All right. Once you two have done enough individual healing on your own and you're able to come into union with each other, the healing doesn't stop. You've just grown enough and healed enough that you're able to move through everything together now without being extremely triggered. You're still going to get triggered. You're still going to have arguments, but it's not going to be like it was before. Because during the separation with your twin flame, that's the point of separation, is you go through all this inner healing and you're solving and fixing all of these wounds and finding them and then healing them. All the things you didn't even realize were so major, you know? That's the point of separation, and that's when the journey does become smoother. You guys learn how to communicate effectively. You learn how to be open and vulnerable with each other without closing up, or without, you know, once the other person triggers you, you don't immediately close up like a clam. You're kind of like, ooh, all right, that bothered me. Like, can we just take a minute to talk about this? You know, it's going to change. It's going to evolve, because as you guys heal, the connection heals, right? So no, the twin flame journey is not smooth at all, not for a long time. But then once you get past the hump, right, you get past the rough part, which is rough. It is very rough. Don't get me wrong. I'm not downplaying it. I'm just trying to keep it light, because we all know how deep we go into the darkness in this journey, right? So no, it's not always smooth, but it's always worth it. Because afterwards, after that big part, like we said, that's when you get into the bliss of the connection evermore. You know, there will still be challenges, but it's much more good than bad. Versus in the beginning, or in the, you know, when you guys are going through your healing, it's mostly bad. It's like, it's really bad, but you're holding on to the memories of good, of like when you first connected and you first had, you know, the meeting with your counterpart and you guys got to know each other. It's like beautiful, and you're just holding on to those memories, you know. But that will pass, and you won't have to hold on to those memories anymore, because you'll be making millions of new ones. So that is number 3. Now, number 4 ties into that. What is the purpose of the twin flame journey? What's the point? Why does it exist? Why do we go through this, right? The purpose, the fundamental core of the twin flame journey, is not being with your counterpart. If you still believe that it's being with your counterpart and that's the point, you are not close to union, okay? The point of the twin flame journey is the evolution of your soul, you. Okay, you specifically. It's learning how to heal from things that you haven't thought about, or you haven't touched, or you haven't realized are such a big issue, right? It's becoming the best version of you that you can possibly be, regardless of anybody else. Even if your twin flame didn't exist, throat chakra activation, even if your twin flame didn't exist, it's about your evolution, okay? Now, the reason that we end up in union with our twin flame is because of the healing that we've done internally and within ourselves, right? It's a reward. So it's not, if you think about like a destination or a journey that you're going on, everything you go through on that journey, like let's say you're on a quest for world peace, for example, right? You're on a quest for world peace. That's your goal. That's your mission. You're becoming the person you can be to make that happen. And then at the end of that, as you're trying to achieve that and you're actively working on that, Spirit sends you this beautiful reward, right? They're like, here's a perfect beautiful connection for you to have support, comfort, love, so you guys can amplify this mission even further. That's the point of a twin flame journey. The two of you both have mission work to do in this life. At first, it's separately, but then once you come into union, the two of you have mission work to do. You are here to raise the vibration of the planet, actually of all of existence, not even just this planet. You're here to raise existence, raise existence and vibration in general for everybody, everything, every entity. The purpose of the twin flame journey is your evolution, and the reward is being with your twin flame. That's the distinction between the two. So 5, what are the stages of the twin flame journey? We kind of touched on this too. So at first, you don't know your twin flame, right? You're just living your life. You've definitely had a lot of experiences that have put you on a spiritual path, right? I'll get into my own journey in a different video because it's long, but anyway, you just have a lot of things in your life that have happened, and then it's really broken you down, but you've been working on your healing, you've been doing great, right? You're at a pretty solid place, and you feel like you know where your life is going, right? And then you meet your twin flame, and they just shatter everything you thought you knew. Everything you thought, every direction you thought your life was going in, every thought you thought you had, it's just gone. This is gone. Joking aside, that is what happens. When you meet your twin flame, that initial contact, you are now activated in your connection, right? And as soon as you're activated, your eyes open. It's poof, you suddenly see the world in a brand new light. You're like, oh my God, I'm surrounded by people that don't care about me. I'm in a terrible relationship. I'm in a terrible job that treats me like shit. You just suddenly like, poof, like an epiphany. But on top of that epiphany, it's also the world crumbling around you. Everything you thought was solid in your life just dissolves and demolishes. One sec. And the purpose of this is because your twin flame is going to put you on your true path. They're going to help you see what you're truly meant to do in life and the best version of you that you can truly be. So what you thought was best for you, or where you thought you were going, isn't necessarily what is best for you or where you're meant to go. So the purpose of that in the beginning is your twin flame is rerouting you to where you're supposed to be. The people you're supposed to be around, they're taking you out of toxic relationships. Not them purposely, you know what I mean? But because you've now met your twin flame, your life is going to crumble around you, the things that aren't meant for you. And it's going to feel like your whole life is falling apart. It's going to feel like everything around you, like you messed it all up, or how did this all crumble? It was so great. And then that's where the what's the word I want? It's not hatred, but like the ick towards your twin flame comes in, because then you're like, ugh. Like you start looking at them like they're the problem. And you're like, damn, like since this person came into my life, it's just fallen apart. They're clearly the problem. Like I need to get the fuck away from them. And that's when one twin runs, right? They're like, like I don't want my life crumbling anymore. I don't want this happening anymore. I'm going to start to run. And that's when you enter the chaser-runner dynamic, right? So that's the dynamic that most people are extremely familiar with. So you have the initial contact with your twin flame, you're building, you're doing great, and then you start to see each other's triggers, the mirroring comes into full effect, and you're like, I don't know about this. And then your life starts to crumble around you, both of you. And typically, it depends on the journey. Typically, the person that started the journey in throat chakra activation, sorry. Typically, the person that starts the journey in the divine masculine energy, the distorted masculine energy, typically runs first. Because the other counterpart that's in distorted feminine energy has wounds inside that cause them to chase, that cause them to seek validation, to seek reassurance, to seek comfort, to seek communication, to the point of almost trying to force it. And the person in masculine energy at the beginning of the journey, distorted masculine energy, is going to run. They're going to be like, oh my God, like this person is way too intense. They have way too much shit going on. They're way too sensitive. Not dealing with that. I'm all set, right? That's that person in distorted masculine energy. They don't want anything to do with it. They're like, no, thank you. I'm just going to stay in my life that is not good for them, but they think it is because the crumbling hasn't finished, so they still think that they could hold on to something that's not good for them, right? So once that all finishes crumbling down, it reaches a breaking point. So the breaking point in a twin flame connection at this stage typically results in separation. So that's when typically both twin flames, but a lot of times it's the person that's in distorted feminine energy starts to awaken into divine feminine energy, right? And that's when they say, whoa, hold up. Like, I love this person, but no matter what I do, no matter what I say, no matter how much I try to fix the connection between the both of us, it doesn't work. It just gets worse. And they treat me worse, and then I treat them worse, and it's just very, very toxic, right? So that's when the person who's more awakened or awoke, however I can't think of how to say that right now, who's more awaken so far in the journey, typically walks away because they have to. It's terrible for the both of you. It's not healthy for the both of you. It's gone so far from the initial connection that you both had because you're both just stuck in like these wounds and these triggers and the fear and the trying to grasp everything in your life that's falling apart, right? It's not really. Things fall apart so that the right things can come together. So it's actually a blessing, a huge blessing. You just don't see it right away. So then you enter separation, right? Regardless of who initiates the separation, you go into separation, a real separation, because you've had minor ones the whole connection, but the real separation is no contact. You don't speak. You have nothing to do with each other because you can't. You're at a point in your connection where you just cannot currently connect physically to that person because their physical self is far too triggering for you to be around, for the both of you to be around. So, in separation, which I'm going to really get into at a further point in this, because right now we're just talking about the journey, but during separation, that's when the most important healing work gets done in this journey. That's when you go through everything that this person has triggered you about, everything that they have upset you with, everything you've looked at them like, what the, like, you're just at a loss for words. You're like, get away from me. Like, what are you doing? How do you treat me like that? How do you talk to me like that? When in reality, when you're in separation, that's how you treat yourself. That's how you talk to yourself. That's why your twin flame is triggering you so much in those areas, because they're just reflecting your own behavior back to you. So how you treat others and how you treat yourself, your twin flame is going to show you that right back. So if you can't stand the reflection, you need to look at yourself and be like, what is wrong with me that I can't be around my counterpart? Like, if this is my twin flame, my person, right? This is my person. Why can't I even tolerate being around them, right? That's when you go within. That's when you do the internal work and you really look at yourself, your behavior, your actions, everything you've been through, everything you put them through, everything they put you through. You just analyze and you look at all of it. And that's when you come into the most beautiful part of the journey, which is the evolution of yourself, which is the whole point, right? So then after this phase, as separation comes to an end, and the reason it comes to an end is because you've done so much inner healing on yourself. You've done a lot of child healing, teenage you healing, young adult you healing. Every version of you needs to be healed. It needs to be looked at. It needs to be analyzed. It needs to be compared to what you are now and where you want to be. So once you reach that point, then you can enter into reunion. That's where, okay, because you can now sit with yourself and love yourself and talk to yourself and have these hard conversations with yourself and really look at your bullshit in the face and forgive it and love it, only then can you connect with your twin flame again, because then you're at a point where you're able to love them and forgive them and understand them in all of their darkness, because now you've understood your own darkness, right? So that's the point, and that's when you come into reunion with your twin flame. So once you enter into reunion with your twin flame, that's where life really starts to get great, right? That's when you two come together to heal together and to help heal other people together, right? So, and after reunion, there's another stage. It's the forever stage, because in reunion, you guys are, it's like buffering, right? You've been separate for a while. You had a lot happen between the both of you. So when you come back together, you're kind of like buffer a little bit. It's called the merging of the souls. So you're going to kind of like bump a little bit until you slowly like come together and you merge, right? And you're actually a perfect match like this. That's the forever stage. That's when you guys are solid and solidified in your union. Okay, this is fun. I definitely need water though. So give me 1 second. Okay, so now we're gonna go to number 6. Can twin flames be in a relationship? Now, can twin flames be in a relationship with somebody else? That's a different question. So for this one, we're going to talk about, can twin flames be in a relationship? Of course you can, right? Now, when you get to the union, that's a relationship, typically resulting in marriage if you believe in that, or at least a lifelong partnership. But twin flames can start out in a relationship too, not all of them. But sometimes they start out romantically and then they separate. So then that person is now your ex by society standards, which is stupid. But this person is now your ex, right? Or if you never dated this person, that's okay too. You guys just had an intense connection but never acted on it because of whatever, because of wounds you had or fears you had. You didn't want to be completely vulnerable, or it's different for every single journey. But of course you can either be in a relationship to start or you cannot. That just depends on your individual journey, right? Number 8, how long does the twin flame journey take? Okay, this is also dependent on you. You specifically watching this, okay? You do your, I'm gonna look at you like this. Do your work, do your inner healing if you want to be with your twin flame. But remember, that's not the point. Forget about your twin flame. I know I just said that if you want that, then sure, but forget about them. Just, if this is them, put them over there. Put them on the table, just put them over there and be like, you don't exist right now. You don't exist to me. I am going to do my healing. I'm going to focus on me. I'm going to pretend you don't exist in a loving way, of course, so you're not obsessing over your twin flame. Put them over there for a minute. Be like, I love you, but sit over there for a minute. Sit on that bench. I will be right back. Okay? And then you do your own stuff. You do your own healing. You do your own journey. You fix yourself, right? So depending on how quickly you go through your healing, and it's not a race, trust me, you cannot rush this process. Spirit will slap you in the face and be like, no, do your healing appropriately. So there's no rushing it. You will get through it when you are meant to get through it. So, like I said, that depends on your journey, because depending on how much you healing, ignore my hat here, I just got out of the shower and put a hat on. So depending on how quickly you go through your healing, that's how quickly you'll come in the union with your twin flame. So the journey is entirely dependent on you. Okay. Number 9. What if I never meet my twin flame? Alright, so those of you who are a twin flame, which if you're watching this video, most likely are. What if you never meet your twin flame? If you are a twin flame in this lifetime, like we talked about in the beginning, only you will know that. There is no if. You will meet your twin flame. Excuse me, if you're not a twin flame, you will not meet your twin flame. It's really that simple. So if you feel like you don't know who your twin flame is, you've never met them, you either don't have one, or more than likely, if you even know about this journey, you just haven't met them yet. Okay? So that's a very simple, blunt answer to that question, because it's the truth. 10, how can I prepare for my twin flame? So I'm going to get into the healing part of this. So how you can prepare for your twin flame is by being the best version of you, like we talked about. So that means going through your inner child healing, going through your teenage healing, going through your young adult healing. Really look at the things in your life, which I was going to pull a card just as an example since I have my deck here. So look at your life and your wounds and your triggers in your life and be like, you know, what scares me the most? Like, what am I most afraid to look at from my past? Like, what trauma have I been through that I just refuse to talk about, or I refuse to feel, or I refuse to remember, right? On the bottom, we have Cobra. So this is actually probably the perfect card you can get for this. So snakes shed their skin. You need to shed your skin. Okay, you need to be that king cobra, and a king cobra does not get to be a king cobra until it sheds many, many times, until it reaches the adult king cobra, right? But also with snakes, it's the Kundalini rising and the Kundalini awakening. So a lot of times, twin flames have a lot of sexual trauma. The reason for this is spiritual power and spiritual energy in general is sexual energy. So modern society, right, has put this stigma on sexual energy, how it should be suppressed, or it should be revoked, or it should be not explored. That's bullshit. Okay, spiritual energy is sexual energy. So sexual energy is the most the most powerful energy in the universe. You got here because two people had sex, okay? Maybe in a lab, doesn't matter. Two things came together and created you, right? So that's the point. One sec. All right, jokes aside, but that really is important. A lot of times twin flames have sexual trauma and a lot of sexual blocks, which means sacral chakra blocks, which typically you'll have a lot of stomach issues. It ties into solar plexus as well. Stomach issues, reproductive issues, period issues, masturbation issues. You know, if you have, you know, depending on your body parts, you could have different issues with that. It's all related to your root, your sacral, and your solar plexus chakra, which are big ones for twin flames, especially in the beginning. So the reason for that, like I'm saying, is twin flames are some of the most powerful souls in existence. So for you to access that level of power, it first needs to be blocked off to you. If you think about a superhero, typically, if you think about superheroes, they don't want to be superheroes, but they're just like thrown into the life and they have to fucking figure it out and be a hero and save people, right? That's basically what a twin flame is. You didn't ask for this. You didn't ask for this bullshit. You didn't ask for all the things you went through in your life, but you're meant for it. You are meant to heal it. You are meant to teach others, and you are meant to help others through it. That's the point. So as you're healing your trauma and your sexual trauma, your spiritual power is growing exponentially. So that's the purpose of, a lot of times there's a lot of spiritual, sexual work to be done with twin flames, whether it was, you know, myself, for example, I had a lot of sexual trauma my entire childhood. Like the first 15 years of my life were really bad, like really, really bad. And my whole life was rough, but as a kid, you should not be going through things like that. So I have a lot of sexual trauma that I've had to heal and work on, and, you know, a lot of molestation and rape and all of these things, right? And I wouldn't let anyone touch me. No, I didn't do hugs. I didn't do, like, if someone came up and patted me on the shoulder, I'd be like, don't touch me. Like, I'd freak out, I'd flinch, and the trauma I have. And I still had that. When I came, and I met my twin flame, I still had that, but her touch was the only touch that I never flinched from, or I never ran from, or it never scared me. I was never uncomfortable, right? So they are going to be the only person that understands you at that level, and the only person you truly feel safe with and comfortable with. So I know this is a long one, and that's what she said, but the point I'm getting at is there's going to be a lot of healing that you need to do to prepare for your twin flame, because that's what this question was. How can I prepare for my twin flame? Do your healing. Really focus on your sexual healing, because like I said, most twin flames have that. Whether it's you know, whatever it is for you, maybe you've just hooked up with a bunch of people your whole life. That's a lot of sexual karma and a lot of sexual energy you need to clear out of your vessel. All right. When you sleep with someone, their energy is in your system for 5 years. 5 years. So if you've hooked up with a lot of people, that's a lot of energy you need to clear from your system. But also a lot of heart chakra activation and healing, a lot of your vulnerability, your emotional issues, you know, all of your chakras need to be worked through. So the way you heal your chakras is you have to start at the bottom, because Kundalini rises from the root chakra, and it's the twin snakes, which I think is on my shirt. It might be on the back, but anyway, is it on the back? Maybe it's on the hood. Anyway, the point I'm getting at is twin flames, the Kundalini, are the twin snakes that rise up the spine. So they start from the root chakra and they work their way all the way up through the crown chakra. So start with your root chakra, look at your issues, and be like, how can I fix this? How can I work on this? Quickly, before I move on to the next one, if you want some examples of things that I do, there are certain things for me that are extremely triggering and difficult for me to look at, and I have refused to do so my entire life until I connected with my twin flame, and especially being in separation, that's when I really started to do stuff, right? And you know, so for example, I don't have many memories from before I was 15. Most of my memory is gone because of the trauma I went through, but there are things that spark my memory. I literally have, it's almost like amnesia, because when you're a child, your brain can't handle the level of trauma that you go through, so it quite literally blocks it out, so it's like gone. unless something triggers it. So there are things that I would watch when I was a kid, or like movies, for example. So there's things that I remember. I'm like, oh, this movie, like, I would never watch that again because it reminds me of this when I was a kid. Well, now I sit my ass down in a blanket, freaking out, and I watch it because I have to face those things, right? And it's just like an innocent movie. Like, I watched Black Beauty the other day. Love that movie to death. But it was so prominent in my childhood that I avoided it until 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, very recently for that movie in particular. But I sat my ass down and I said, no, like, you need to watch this. You need to face this. You need to just face things that trigger you. So think of something that triggers you and just tackle it. Have a support stuffed animal like I do. I have a little corgi that's in a rec suit and I just hold it and it helps me, okay? Whatever you need to do, just do that. That's how you get through your healing. That's how you prepare for your twin flame, by healing yourself. Okay, next one, which is number 11. Twin flame versus a soulmate. So these are both very important connections, but very different. They are similar, but they're different. So to put it simply, the difference between a twin flame is you at your core. They will always match your vibration, whether that's good, bad, ugly, beautiful. They will always match it. A soulmate matches you where you currently are at your vibration. So whatever vibration you are currently at, that's when you meet a soulmate at the same current level. That's why soulmates are not everlasting if you're a twin flame. If you're a twin flame, you will be with your twin flame. Soulmates, you may go great for a couple years. You may go great for 10 years. You may go great for 15. Sure, a couple months even. But then it just all falls apart. This person suddenly leaves you, or you suddenly leave them, or it's just like, they tell you, oh, I never loved you, or you realize that you never loved them, so you leave, or they cheat on you, or they just suddenly have 4 children that you didn't know about, and they're like, oh, yeah, they're like, how could you hide that from me? And, just, it doesn't matter what it is. It will always come to an end. If you're a twin flame, you will never be with a soulmate for life, because that person stunts your growth. So if you're a twin flame, as we are watching this video, right? Most of you are, I'm sure. You will be with your twin flame because they will always match you at your current vibration. They will always grow with you. A soulmate cannot grow with you. Maybe for a small time they'll grow with you, but a soulmate is not a twin flame. They are not on the same energetic vibration. They are capped. They have a cap. They have a limit. Twin flame does not have a limit. So that's the difference between the two of those. 12. Can twin flames be very different people? Oh my God, yes. If I could tell the emphasis of how different I am from my twin flame, and I mean that in the most loving way possible, because sometimes I just think and I'm like, we are so different. But at the same time, there's no one that understands me more. There's no one that connects to me like she does, right? Or like I do to her. There's no match. There's no comparison. But on a surface level, very different. Very different in how we approach life. Very different in how we speak to others. We let others speak to us. That's the whole point, right? Because if your twin flame is accepting toxic people in their life, typically that's a lesson that we've learned already. So we repel that, right? And we go to the other extreme, which is we don't want anybody in our life. We just do our own thing 24/7. And your twin flame looks at you like, why? Why not just have good people around you? And you're like, I don't want good people around me. Look at you. You're surrounded by people that don't care about you. And you think they do. That's not a life. And they're looking at you like, yours isn't a life. You're always alone 24/7. For us, that's normal, right? But if you think about it, truly think about it, remember we talked about twin flames have mission work on this planet. You can't do mission work in a cave by yourself. It's amazing for your healing. Trust me, I'm a Virgo. I'm a hermit. I live in my own space. I love my own company. I love my own space. That's why I love making videos, because I'm talking to myself, right? So, love doing my own thing. My little bubbles, right? But you can't do that. With mission work, you have to connect with other people. You have to have those connections. You have to help other people. So that's why the two of you come from very different extremes in areas, because you learn from each other. You have to have that balance. She's very social. She loves doing stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to talk to anyone. I just want to read about the hidden columns underneath the pyramids, which are made of copper, and they were a conduit for energy, and the top of the pyramid is where it came out. Okay, that's what I do. And Like, I just want to live in my cave and like do my research and like do my esoteric studies and like, wow, I remember that because that's all your past lives, right? And then now she likes to like have fun, or she likes to be around people, or like have social gatherings, and I'm like, I want to die. Like, I don't want to do that. But that's the point, right? We're supposed to be very different people. You know, she's very much a people person. I am not. So that's the balance, right? The point I'm getting at is, yes, you can be very different people. So, jokes aside, this is fun, honestly. I'm having fun with this. But jokes aside, yes, you're going to be extremely different from your twin flame on a surface level. Your hobbies are going to be very different. Your interests are going to be very different. The way you approach life is going to be very different. But at a core level, the things you believe in, truly, the things you stand for in life, they will match you 100%, because that's what truly matters. I am a huge gamer, okay, and I am damn good at it. I am like a pro gamer. I'm very good. And I don't say that as an exaggeration. I'm one of the best in the world at a couple games. Like, I've done tournaments and everything. I'm very good at what I do. I don't think she's ever touched a game in her life. Like, I don't know. I mean, we didn't talk about it much, but I know she doesn't play games, right? And that to me was such a huge thing. Like, before I met my twin flame, I would only date people that had the same interests as me, right? They're like a huge gamer like me, check. Huge nerd like me, check, right? But all those relationships crumbled and fell apart because fundamentally we were not the same person. So you're going to be very different from your twin flame on the surface, but on a deep level, which is what truly makes a connection last, perfect match. Absolute perfect match. And you're going to complement each other perfectly. That's the point. You're the yin and the yang. And the yang has a little bit of yin, and the yin has a little bit of yang, right? You guys blend and complement each other perfectly. That's the whole point. You can't have a complement without having an opposite. So, I love that. We're getting there. We're at 13. All right. Signs of reunion. So this is actually going to be kind of a short one because we already talked about this. So you know when you're coming into reunion or you're close to it because of the level of healing that you have done on yourself. You're able to look at yourself in the mirror. You're going to have a lot of throat chakra activations. I am dry. You're going to have a lot of chakra activations. You're going to see a lot of synchronicities. You will not escape this person, okay? When you're close to union, like reunion with your twin flame, bombarded, absolutely bombarded with messages, with synchronicities, with signs from spirit. You're like, can I just have a break for 5 minutes, please? And you're like, you know what? I'm just going to go for a drive, clear my head like I do. And then you're driving, you're jamming, and all of a sudden the person in front of you has their initials and birthday. And you're like, why? And then you're like, you know what? Nah, I'm just going to turn a different way. And then all of a sudden you're passing a house that has the number of their birthday, or you're passing something with their initials, or they're even their name, right? You just can't escape it. You're just going to be bombarded and covered in signs and synchronicities. It's just, you will not escape it. And music is a big one. I'm just pointing at you. Music is a big one. So pay attention to the songs you hear, the things that pop into your head, the random tunes. Like, I can't think of one right now, but all of those things, right? I had to take a break. I was cracking myself. I was laughing at nothing, so I just stopped recording for 10 seconds. But that's the point. You're gonna know. There's no escaping it. It's just, you feel it in your soul. You feel like they're constantly just gonna be around the corner, or like be at the store you're at, or suddenly they're on your phone, or you just feel it internally in your soul. You're like, yeah, they're coming back around. But the most important thing, you know that you're close to union when you don't care about it anymore. And I mean that in the most loving way possible, where you're like, you know what? Wow. I lived this whole time on my own in this separation without my twin flame, and I'm thriving, and the both of you are going to in separate ways. Of course, it would, you want to be with your twin flame, you guys have mission work together, of course you yearn for that, but you're not chasing it like you were before, but you're also not running from it, okay? You stop chasing, and they stop running. You both just stop. You just say, you know what? Why am I running from you? Why are you chasing me? What are we doing? Why don't we just go this way? And then, so I love this. I always do this in my readings, if you watch my readings. But, so, here's twin flames. The chaser and runner, right? Oh, then they switch. and then they go this way. Oh, and then they go back this, and then it's a tug of war, right? And then all of a sudden, somebody stops, and then this twin goes, "Hey, why aren't you chasing me?" And this one goes, "You know what? I'm gonna go this way." And then because they're tied to you like a string, they're like, "Oh, well, shit, I guess I'm going this way too." And then suddenly you both go this way, and then you meet in the middle, right? Or think of it like two paths. You're both on a path. You may separate in separation for a minute, but then you always come back together. So that's what it is. All right, I actually only had a couple more, but my phone is dying, and I can't charge it while I record this for a multitude of reasons. But, okay. So anyway, the last one I want to touch on right now, and if you guys want a part 2, let me know. I'll definitely do a part 2, because there is more. There's so much more that I can get into. It's just, I am limited on space on my phone and also my battery life. So the last thing I want to talk about is number 20, which honestly is a very important one. It's doubt, ? Forgiveness, ? And help each other, ? So the first thing, doubt, like we talked about, those moments of doubt are actually a blessing. Like, you need those moments of doubt to truly remind you why you love this person, why you love yourself, the connection that the two of you have. It's incredible. It's able to withstand anything the two of you go through, or anything you guys trigger each other into. You always come back to a point of loving each other, regardless. It doesn't matter if it takes a couple weeks, a month, a year, 10 years, doesn't matter. You always come back to a point where you forgive that person, because that other person, your twin flame, is you. So the sooner you forgive yourself and love yourself for the mistakes you've made in life and the things that you didn't love about yourself, as soon as you love those parts of yourself, then you can give that energy to your twin flame and they can give it back to you. So that's beautiful. Yes, doubt is normal. Yes, doubt is healthy, because doubt reaffirms your beliefs. So beautiful. And then forgiveness, like we said, that's a major part of the twin flame journey. Regardless of what happened between the both of you, or especially what happened at the breaking point when you guys went into separation, doesn't matter how bad that was, you need to forgive yourself and you need to forgive the other person. That's obviously much easier said than done, especially depending on your individual journey and what happened. But that is the truth of it. You need to forgive yourself and you need to forgive them. That is not an excuse to allow any toxic behavior back into the connection. It's not an excuse for you to treat them how you did, and it's not an excuse for them to treat you how they did, right? You need to move past that. Forgiveness does not mean, like, no boundaries. You need to have... All right. You need to have boundaries, okay? Boundaries are extremely important, and that's what you learn in separation as well, is how to have healthy boundaries. It's saying, I love you unconditionally, but you can absolutely not treat me like that ever again. Of course, there'll be moments when we fight or moments when we disagree. We will never go back to that point. I will never treat you like that again, and you will never treat me like that again. And if we can't uphold that boundary toward each other, we cannot be together. So that means you go into another separation. So until you reach that point where you're able and you've forgiven your twin flame, you're not excusing their behavior, okay? But you forgive it, you understand it, because they're you. So until you understand why they did what they did, why they feel what they feel, how you made them feel, and how they made you feel, until you understand each other and where each other is coming from and see it from the other person's perspective, you will not heal. You will not reach union, right? But as soon as you see, like, put your own ego aside, put your own stuff aside, and truly see what this person sees toward you, toward life, toward everything. And when you have that understanding, that's how you can help your twin flame, because you need to understand them. You already understand their beautiful qualities, their light, they're amazing, they're great. You need to understand their darkness and where they come from. If your demons can dance with each other and understand each other, you guys won't have any problems, because then when they appear, you know how to navigate with each other. So that's the whole point. That's how you can help each other. So, okay, I have very low battery. So, one sec. Alright, so I am going to have to end it there. I really appreciate you guys watching this, and I hope it helps. Like I said, I have a lot more that I could talk about. I love talking about this stuff. when I started Esoteric Insight, that was my whole goal anyway. It's my mission work is to help and to teach. It's what I've always been good at, is using my voice. So I hope it helped. And yes, I will be returning to my tarot videos as well, because I also enjoy doing that. But I'm also branching out into other content, especially Twin Flame content, because that's what I am. That's what I do. It's why I'm on this journey in the first place, right? So, but yeah, I thank you for watching. Like I said, my name's Ben. If you want to check out my other videos, go for it. I also have other channels of like my personal stuff if you're interested in that. But thank you. Have a great day. You guys are doing amazing. You will get through this journey. You're already crushing it. The fact that you even watched this video is a major step and a sign for you that you're on the right track. So, thank you. Goodbye. Have a nice day. Or night. It's night for me. It's like 1 a.m. Goodbye.